Hi YouTube. So here we are, week 6, and I am on my Weight Watchers journey. And if you've all been watching, you know that I've been losing each week. And this week I'm happy to come back with a 2.2 loss. So that is great. And my total loss up until this point is 14.1 pounds. So I'm very excited. I was hoping for a 2 to 3 pound loss for this week, and I got my 2 pound loss, a little bit over, and that is great. So this week I just kind of wanted to go through some things that have been helping me to lose the weight, what I've been doing, what I've been eating, and I want to start with my tracker. So this week I went over my points by 20. And I know if you've been watching, you know that usually I try not to do that because it doesn't allow for the largest weight loss at the end of the week. But I had a special dinner and I went over by 20 points. So that dinner, when I was thinking about it, even though I went over, I didn't go over in really bad foods. I didn't go over on French fries, fried stuff, anything like that. What happened was I had a steak, which was larger than I normally would. I had potatoes, and those are high in points. I had some butter, so butter and bread kind of spiked my points. I had a few more drinks than I would normally have, and I had a bowl of chili. So and with my breakfast, everything came to 20 over. But just because I went 20 over, I still lost weight, which is great. And that is really what Weight Watchers has designed those weekly point allowances for. Because if you do go over, I think if you didn't have them, people would feel defeated, and then they wouldn't necessarily stick to the program because they would say, well, I've gone over, so the hell with it. Throw in the towel. This week is shot. So it makes you feel good. I mean, at the top, you cross them off, and you use them for one day, you move on, and then the next day you have a better day and you don't use them. So it's been really working for me. And then there's a few days that I went under my points. So that's another strategy that I use. If one day I'm over by 20, 30, 40 points even, the next day I'll try to come back and have a deficit, if possible, or at least, very least, stick to my points and not go over. They say that you can tack on an extra 7 points per day if you want to spread your points out. But for me, when I did that 1 week, it did not work for me. I was just overeating. I was just eating things that I didn't need. I was eating past feeling satisfied. So it really didn't help me just to tack on an extra 7 points a day. So I just choose to use my points one day, or two if I want to use 2 days, but 1 to 2 days, and that's it. The rest of the week, I'm what I call myself good, and I stick to my points, and I don't go over. So just to review, a few days I ended up with 0 points left because I ate right to my points, and a couple days I went 5 points under. Another day I went 13 points under, and I'm not going under because I'm feeling forced to go under. I'm just being conscious of the things that I'm eating. So I realized that I had a big meal, and I now realize that, hey, I don't need to eat as much food the next day. If we weren't living like we're living now, that's how it would work in the wild, right? I mean, every day you're not going to catch the biggest animal and have that feast every night. So our bodies were designed to not have to eat just massive meals every single day for us to survive. And of course, I've been really working on my water intake. That is something that I will not skimp on. I always make sure I drink lots of water. And a technique that I use is if I feel hungry, I know this is like very basic, but if I feel hungry, I always take a big gulp of water. And usually, honestly, I'm still hungry, but at least the water kind of fills me up a little bit. So if I was going to gorge, maybe now that I had that big glass of water, I'm only going to have just, half sandwich or something. So I feel more satisfied after eating. But, some people say like, oh, I drink water and then I'm not even hungry anymore. That's not me. I'm still hungry, but the water definitely helps, just reducing what I was going to put in my mouth. So other things that I've been doing that work for me, I don't know if they necessarily will work for everybody, but I have been eating a really large breakfast every day. I didn't used to always eat breakfast, or I just kind of ate like junk. But yeah, I've been eating a really good breakfast and a big breakfast. I usually spend about 10 points on my breakfast, and that usually consists of 1 to 2 pieces of toast and 2 eggs. I fry them, but I don't fry them in butter. I just spray the pan lightly. 2 eggs, and then that also includes a little bit of butter on my toast. And then I have a couple glasses of water with breakfast and a big cup of coffee. And that includes a spoon of sugar in my coffee, which I would love if I could drink coffee without sugar. I will, try to wean myself off that, but I really enjoy that sugar in my coffee. So, big breakfast. You always hear people say, breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and you heard that since you were little, and you're like, yeah, whatever, like, fine, I'm not eating. Or I used to get physically sick in the morning if I ate breakfast, especially if it was really early. I'd be like, I don't even want breakfast. But now, and I know this is probably different for people if you have children, or it's much harder. I've said in my other videos, I don't have children, so I'm just kind of just me and my boyfriend. So I kind of have that luxury, but I always sit down at the table for breakfast, and I'm usually on the computer. So instead of like sitting in front of the TV and eating, I'll just make my breakfast, bring it over to the table, have my coffee, check email. And I mean, how long does it take you to eat breakfast? I mean, 5 minutes at the most? I mean, you should probably take longer to eat it, and then just to cook it. I mean, some people say, well, I don't have the time to cook it. By the time I turn the pan on and put the 2 eggs in there and then flip them, it's literally 5 minutes. I mean, it's like super fast. And then toast. I mean, everyone can pop down some toast in the morning. So it's much faster than you would think. I mean, breakfast total takes me about 10 minutes. And then for lunch, I've been finding myself eating a smaller lunch. I used to have really big lunches, and I think that's because I wasn't eating that big breakfast. So for lunch, now I'm just having half a sandwich and a glass of water. I always drink water. We never did keep any kind of juices or pop or soda, or depending where you're from, in the house. We always just drank water, and I'm actually really thankful for that, because I know some people are really hooked on sodas and pop. So yeah, I think, and I'm sure that's a struggle too for some people. If you always are used to that carbonated soda pop beverage, you're going to have to find a way to stop that. I think even the diet beverages, I think, even though they don't have the the sugar in them, I think they still are just like loaded with chemicals. So that's not good. And I think I remember seeing a video on soda that it will like clean things. Diet soda will like clean like your household things, like your sink and your toilet. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to put that in my body. So I just go straight water. Of course, ice in it, lemon always helps. And then for dinner, when I look through my tracker, because I keep all my trackers, I review them just to see any patterns or trends, and I've been noticing for dinner, I've been eating a lot of seafood, and I think that's really been helping me. I enjoy seafood, and I know seafood can be kind of expensive, and I'm not necessarily buying the best seafood. It's usually from Walmart, and it's usually mixed with something. So if I have a shrimp dinner, I'll mix it with like a spicy sauce or something like that, because I'm not buying the best quality of shrimp, so you kind of have to mix it with something. And I've been eating scallops. I did splurge on scallops and bought wild caught, the big scallops, and I ate 2 of those at a time, 2 to 3 of those at a time, and with a little bit of rice and a salad, and it was delicious. Just pan fry those on each side with a little bit of butter in the pan. That is one time I will use butter, is when I'm cooking scallops. And just fish. Any kind of fish, any white fish. It's really simple, really kind of like basic, and it's usually a crowd pleaser because something like haddock, it doesn't have, which is usually what I eat. Although I've been weaning myself off haddock because it is starting to become overfished, and I don't like that, but a fish like that is kind of generic. It kind of has like a sweet taste to it, so it's kind of a crowd pleaser if you're going to make it for dinner, or if you're going to make it for kids. It's not really pungent. So, and you can bread it, but obviously be careful with your points. So you can do seafood, salad, vegetables, a little bit of rice. Rice is tricky though. Rice is high in points. For a cup of cooked rice is 5 points. So I usually only do like half a cup, and I put it on my plate and I'm like, oh, this isn't much rice, but once you start eating it, you're like, this is enough, this is plenty. So that's just kind of my week and what I've been doing, and I for next week, I think, I'm just going to keep on doing what I'm doing. Eventually, I'm going to have to start incorporating some exercise into my plan because I'm not currently working out.